It's always a tough challenge going over there, and it goes without saying, our most senior players are out of the squad, and it's quite unusual really to, not to have injuries. Every team is going to come across periods in the year where they get injuries. I think our second half of the year last year, we didn't have too many injuries at all, so we've had a pretty good run with them. But we're not got the biggest of squads, and I suppose to get who we would view as probably our 5 most senior and experienced players out of the team in one go is quite an unusual situation really, but it's one that we're faced with, and within it, I'm sure there's going to be some opportunity within there for some other people to really stand up and be counted at this moment, which we need them to be that.
I saw. I think is it a calf injury and an eye infection? Is it?
He's got some problems with an eye infection, which is hampering him as well. He has got a calf injury, and it's going to keep him out for a week, if not 2. We would expect, and he has got some problems with his eye. Seen a specialist this afternoon actually. So it's not a case of if anybody thinks it's a case of we're resting people and getting them right, it's certainly not. The short turnaround's got us a little bit, both Port and Lauatiti possibly might have had a chance should we have been playing on Sunday, but at this stage, so early in the competition, I know it's a tough one for us to deal with, but I'm not rushing people back and patching them up and getting them out there. We've probably done that for the last couple of weeks with a couple of players, and we've just got concerns that if we do send some players out there unfit and with question marks on them, then we'll lose them, and we'll lose them over what's coming up to be a critical period. So, for the sake of a week, we don't want to put people in jeopardy for 2, 3, 4 weeks after that. So we're sort of left with no choice, and it just gives us an opportunity to give some more game time to some of our less inexperienced players that I think have done really, really well over the last couple of weeks, and give them some more valuable experience and game time in there. While at the same time, there's going to be a couple of guys that have been sat outside of the squad, not played as much football as they like, so it gives them a real chance to answer some questions, I think, and really stake a claim for us moving forward. And I've seen this many times. I've seen teams go out there with an understrength team, if you want, and it really brings the best out in people and brings the fighter out in them, and that's what I'm wanting from our squad this week.
Yeah, looking at guys, not just the kind of in the squad here, but the guys who've been kind of Bobby, who've been over at Doncaster and Danny Callan, and that can maybe come forward and as you say, stake a place for the coming weeks as well. Yeah,
we'll have a look at the squad, and it's fair to say not everybody in the 19 is obviously going to play, but that's what we're looking for. And I'm certainly looking at people, more experienced players like Matty Wildy and Vinnie Mellors, that obviously as we've got to round 7, is it round 7?
Yes.
Yeah. As we've got to round 7, would all like to a little bit more game time, and probably Kyle Wood's another one in there as well that's had limited opportunities over the bench over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks. So he's obviously going to get more of a chance to play some more game time this week. So we're looking for those players to stand up, and I've got Amo coming back. Obviously after a disappointing way to miss a game, and Ollie Wilkes will step up off the bench this week. So we're looking for some of those players to give us the right response in this situation. I think the manner of our performance is very, very important. There's no doubt the comfort blanket, if you like, of the senior players is not going to be there. So at this time I'm looking for some leadership to emerge from the experienced players that we've got in there.
Yeah. Gianni, you were disappointed last week. Would you have made changes anyway?
Oh, that's irrelevant. I choose a team from the cards that were obviously dealt, and we knew pretty quickly after the game last week that we'd probably have some trouble getting some people on the field this week. So in terms of changes, it's hard for me to answer that one. And I was disappointed with the game last week, but we've had a good look at it, and we know our performance was down. I've seen teams and coached teams many times that have had under par performances and not come away with anything, and it was a performance that had we got beat we couldn't have argued, because you know, on the day we certainly weren't good enough. But I'll look at. I've been really happy with the previous month, even though I don't think our form has got its just rewards. I think we've been very, very unlucky on a couple of occasions. You could even say at the weekend, you know, there's a lot of conjecture about, well, whether that goal went over or not. There's certainly no evidence to suggest it went over on the video that I've seen. And you know, we'll look at the previous 2 weeks and think, you know, maybe on some occasions we haven't quite got the little bit of luck that we've needed and warranted at the time. But for the previous month, I have been happy with our form, even though in the last couple of weeks we've sort of been pipped right at the post. So, you know, I can see with 2 strong games like we had, a little bit of travel thrown in there, you know, why we may have thrown in a little bit of a flatter performance. I think scoring so early probably put a little bit of a false mindset into our players that this was going to be a bit easier than we thought it was. I think that one of the things that we sort of attacked, if you like, at half time, and we spoke about with the players, and I felt our enthusiasm levels and our commitment levels were a lot better in the second half. But I thought by that time, you know, the opposition knew they were in the game and were working really hard, and I think we had a loss of and lack of composure when we really needed it in those last 20 minutes.
What do you make of St Helens start the season?
Well, I think they'll be okay. I think people will look to them, obviously, like ourselves really, they had a really disappointing result and performance in round 1. But at the start of the season, we played a trial there, and we sort of came away thinking these are going to be one of the teams that are challenging. I don't think any different. I think because, you know, they've perhaps lost a couple of games that people might have expected them to win. They have had some changes in key positions, and I would also say they've probably taken a little bit of a step back to go forward and adapted a little bit of a style for the time being, and concentrated on getting 1 or 2 areas in the game right, particularly their offence, before they start to move it on. But I think with the quality of the players and the impact that Nathan's going to have in there, I would suggest that they'll still be right up among the contenders, you know, when the whips are cracking at the end of the year. It's a tough place to go, and they've got some very, very powerful and good players in the team. So we know we've got to rise to that challenge. And as I say, I'm looking for the guys within our group that are ready for that challenge.
I guess you probably can't take too much from the trial game. Does it help you a little bit?
No, I think we've moved on a little bit since then, and the circumstances surrounding that game in particular are radically different to this one. And
Reece Line, was he just kind of not 100% to be included last week? Is he going to be in this week?
Reece is in the squad, and you know, we'll see the makeup of the team when we get over to Saints. But you know, I'll let the players know the team this morning. He's certainly back in contention. We were very, very happy with his form and his performances before he got injured, and you know, he's back fully fit. He was probably fully fit last week, but he'd not really had a full week's training into him. He's back with us 100% now, so he's very much in contention this week.
And finally, did you kind of look at loan market or anything, given the injuries and stuff? Or?
Good question. Yeah, we've had a look around, but you know, I'm not too sure. A couple of things at this moment in time. I'm not too sure. There's heaps out there on the market. You've got to remember Easter's round the corner, and a number of squads, particularly the bigger squads and the teams at the top of the table, if you like, they're generally the teams with a little bit more depth and quality. Well, a number of them have got their own injury issues at the moment. There's also issues surrounding some players that might be available, are overseas players, which because of the border regulations makes it very, very difficult to get them in on loan. And there's not a lot out there that we feel we could bring in over and above, you know, giving our own younger squad men the valuable experience. And I think that's the positive that we'll get out of this. You know, Chris Anakin's a great example. He's coming in a position, you know, where he's got his opportunity. You know, he's got his opportunity, but he's played really, really well. And I think, we'll probably look more from within at the moment until we feel we can find a player that will be here probably for a little bit longer term, and is going to make going to be a valuable addition to our squad. I'm not just going to bring anybody in for the sake of it. I'd sooner give some of our younger guys, the opportunity.